Good morning, sophomores. We are going to go over the Bellringers together today. So if you would get out your Bellringers and make these changes to them, you can learn these grammar concepts. This is from last week, September 30th. My friend Chloe, who never cooks at home, decided to use her stove to store her extra shoes. Unfortunately, she forgot about her footwear when, on a rare whim, she decided to use the oven to bake cookies. Okay, first of all, we have this clause that describes Chloe. So we're going to separate it with commas. Who never cooks at home? Who never cooks at home describes Chloe, and it's non-essential. In other words, it's not needed in the sentence. It gives you extra information on Chloe. That's why we're going to divide it by these commas. We also have a run-on. Okay, the sentence just goes on and on. So we're going to correct the run-on sentence by changing the comma to a period here. And we're going to make the U capitalized. And the adverb that starts the sentence here, and we know it's an adverb because many adverbs end in ly. That's a big clue that you have an adverb starting the sentence. We put a comma at the beginning of the sentence here because it's starting with an adverb. We have an interrupter. Unfortunately, she forgot about her footwear when, on a rare whim. This is also non-essential. It's added to the sentence to give more information, but it's not needed. We could take out on a rare whim and still get what the sentence is trying to tell us. Okay, so that's it for the first sentence. We add a comma for this non-essential adjective clause, and it's an adjective clause because it comes back around and describes the noun, Chloe. We change the comma to a period here because it's a run-on sentence, which makes us needed to capitalize the U. We put a comma here and two commas here because this is also non-essential or not needed. Okay, our second sentence. The stench of melting, dripping rubber soles filled the apartments in the girls' building. Everyone evacuated. Melting, dripping. Two adjectives are side by side. If you have two or more adjectives together, you need to separate them by commas. Melting, dripping rubber soles. We're not talking about the soles of living things. We're talking about the soles of her shoes. That's a homophone. Words that sound alike but have different meanings and different spellings. So we need to change soles to soles of shoes. Okay. We're talking about Chloe's apartment. Right now, this is more than one girl. We're going to take out the apostrophe at the end and make it one girl, apostrophe before the S. Okay. Run-on sentence, put a period after building, and everyone evacuated. Make everyone capitalized. Another way to indicate capitalization, you could also put 3 underline marks there. And that's your answers for our first one. Okay, we are moving on to October 1st Bellringer. Alter with an A or alter with an E. An altar is an elevated platform used in religious ceremonies. That's altar with an A. Lindsay asked about the flowers on the altar. Or altar with an E is to change. The surgery will not alter your appearance. And you have 4 sentences to decide if it's altar with an A or an E. Family members came from across the country to see Winnie and Avram walk to the altar. So remember, altar with an A is for religious ceremonies. It's also the noun version. And altar with an E is to change, and that's also the verb version. So this is the platform, and this is to change. And for the first one, we're talking about an A. They're walking to the altar, to the platform. Number 2, after she finished the sermon, the minister walked in front of the altar, the platform. A clue there is religious ceremony, the sermon. Number 3, if you look closely, you can see that the document has been altered. Has been what? Altered. Document has been, some clues here, has been our helping verbs. Our main verb is altered. With the pilot unconscious, the co-pilot decided to alter the flight plan, decided to change, to alter with an E. And that's your bell ringer for October 1st. And Monday's bell ringer, 10:05. The careful, ever-watchful security guard, a stout man who wore his dark blue employer-issued uniform with pride, shouted, "Get away from that car." This bell ringer shows you what happens if you have 2 worded adjectives. 2 worded adjectives require a hyphen. So ever watchful is one of those adjectives. The other one is employer issued. 2 worded adjectives, hyphen. Beginning of the sentence, you can either use the 3 lines editing marking or simply show that it should be capitalized. This also has adjectives used side by side. So if you have more than one adjective used together, you need to use commas. We have careful, ever watchful. So since you have more than one adjective, you need to divide it by commas. The careful, ever watchful security guard. Now we have what we call a positive phrase. The careful, ever watchful security guard, a stout man who wore his dark blue employer-issued uniform with pride. So we have this extra information describing him. Okay, so all of this information is extra. And a positive phrase is a noun phrase that goes back to describe the guard. All of this information is extra to give you more info on the guard. So it's divided by commas, okay? You don't put these brackets in there. I put those brackets in there for you to better see what the appositive phrase was. What you do put in there are these commas. Now we have the ending of the sentence, which includes a quote. The security guard shouted. Start off your quote with a comma. Then you put in your quotation marks. Beginning of a quotation is like the beginning of a sentence, so we capitalize it. Get away from that car. He shouted, so that's a clue on what kind of punctuation we use for it. We use exclamation point, so comma first, then the quotation mark, and the quotation marks at the end. Our next one, it's ironical that students say they don't enjoy poetry, yet they love rap music. The first one, it's, right now it's a pronoun showing possession, but what we want is the contraction for it is. It's. It is ironical. Ironical isn't a word, so we want it's ironic. Take off the ending. It's ironic that students, right now it's one student showing possession, like a student owns something, but we want a plural. We want more than one student. It's ironic that students say they do not, don't enjoy poetry. This is a conjunction, and we use a comma before a conjunction if it's a compound sentence, meaning it's two sentences put together into one. So they love rap music. We have a subject and a verb, so yes, this is a compound sentence because it's two put into one, yet they love rap music. So we know we put a comma here because it's two independent clauses. One way to know what your conjunctions are is the, my pen's coming apart, is the shortcut or acronym fanboys. The F stands for, the A stands for and, N stands for nor, B stands for but, the O stands for or, the Y stands for yet, and the S stands for so. And that concludes the Bellringers from Bellringers Week 4.